Well, hello there. This is Kathy of kathysright.com, and welcome back. If this is your first time here, please subscribe today. I'm back. I'm always back. I'm always right, and I'm artfully the soul of the conservative nation. God bless America. We at kathysright.com welcome today Dr. Leola Anifowoshe. She is a breath of fresh air. Recently in her life, she revealed to her family and friends and colleagues that she was indeed a true conservative, and that she did greatly support our now President Donald Trump. In a series of talks, I discovered that there was so much for me to learn, even as a lifelong conservative, from a newly self-described conservative Republican. Most Christian American blacks really do have and always have had conservative ideas and thoughts. But through the years of subtle manipulation by the media, leftists, and leftists in the public schools, many are starting to see the light in spite of it all. We are also coming to see that our Christian values and critical cognitive thinking doesn't jive with the leftist agenda of death and destruction. That is why it is important to listen to someone who has made that courageous journey and crossed that courageous bridge, knowing full well that she would face anger, ire from some of the people that she loved and trusted in order to live a sincere life with intellectual honesty. It has not been easy for her. We conservatives must have her back. We can clearly see the inordinate displays of viciousness on television daily and see through the deception of the Democratic Party. That is why I welcome, thank God, Dr. Leola Anifowoshe. Well, welcome. This is my friend, Dr. Leola Anifowoshe. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Anifowoshe.
Anifowoshe. Okay, that's better. Okay, I practiced people's names, and so I have to hear it. We have this new priest. He's from India, and his name is Father Rakshaganathan.
Oh my! Well, next year it'll be Brown. That's easy.
Yes, that'll be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes people feel better when you at least try to say it right. You know?
Absolutely. You know, Americans are lazy with language.
Yes, we
but
are.
I'm not going to be too hard on us because everybody else is. So I'll give us a pass for right now.
Yeah. So how have you been doing through the COVID?
Amazing. Haven't skipped a beat. My husband and I go everywhere, do everything. We're heading out tomorrow. We just, we haven't skipped a beat.
Oh.
We go to the water. You know, when it first broke out, we went down to Corpus. Being near the water, being near nature, found out that really helps.
That's nice.
And keeping your sanity, because, especially once you become, you remember how when you became a conservative, now you've been far longer than I.
Yeah.
But you know how there's like a paradigm shift. You have this whole utopia open up. It's like, oh my God, we've been lied to.
Oh, I know. And then you want to shake people and go, don't you realize, don't you see?
Right. So the same thing with COVID is like, because once you know you've been lied to, then you question everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably why more conservatives are questioning it, because we know how drastic the far left can go with their deceit.
Deceit and manipulation.
Yes.
And who's the great deceiver? Satan.
Mm-hmm. And his workers of iniquity.
Exactly. And so when you get deceived, you start knowing who the author of that deception is, and it makes you wonder why people stay Democrat.
Yeah, it does. But then you know what too? COVID there's a light side to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy, and one thing I think I posted it several times. What is the light thing you've seen from COVID? And one of the light things I've seen, COVID is exposing more than a virus.
Yes.
It's exposing a mental virus.
Mm-hmm.
It's exposing people's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also found that, and I don't want to be accusatory, but it seems like to me that the people who are really hammering this whole mask thing,
mm-hmm.
they live perpetually behind a mask.
Yes. You mean more of like emotional
like
or maybe
narcissistically. So it's just feel
ah
like, see, to me, it appears to me that COVID is a condition of grand of narcissism gone wild.
oh yeah
Because
yeah
if you look at what's going on, for instance, the other day I saw Joe Biden saying exactly, he was saying to Trump what should have been said to him. So basically, he was projecting. Trump's
they do
inciting
that a
violence.
lot. Every time they go to deceive people, they project
Yes.
what they're actually doing
And
onto.
that's a major trait of narcissism. He said Trump is fanning the flames. He's promoting violence. He's causing these riots. And if I did not understand narcissism, I would think, what's wrong with them? And then I realized they're projecting.
Mm-hmm. I wonder about that too, because I think they project things onto you. Like, for instance, when you came, you know, I want to say, I want to say when you told people, when you revealed to them that you are a conservative, did and it wasn't received well, I'm sure.
Were you in that firestorm? You were there.
I know.
Firestorm?
I was there. I helped. I hope. I
Right,
helped.
yeah, girl, you were my sister soldier, I tell you. But I tell you, honey, I had never been.
I defend my friends. I do. I defend my friends, especially, for instance, when Obama was in office. I mean, I didn't vote for him, but I didn't hate anybody who voted for him.
But there was an article that says that conservatives are not angry and mean like that. We just go with the flow. All of the fighting comes from the left.
Yeah.
98%. So, and in fact, the other day, Biden said Trump needs to stop his people from rioting and hurting people. I was like, is he insane? And then I'm like, exactly. Oh, that's a rhetorical question.
Yeah. I think he is a little,
yeah, exactly.
In the head.
Right? Yeah. And in fact, it's to such a degree, I'm like, is this elderly abuse what they're doing? Why is he there?
It is, I think, at this point, because he's not mentally there. Everybody can see that. Anybody who's ever had a grandparent.
Yeah, even his countenance is off. He has this look like he's lost his faith.
Yes, he walks around like.
Yeah, he doesn't, and he's all masked up. And even the other day, though, President Trump said he's controlled. President Trump said it out of his mouth. He's controlled by the dark shadows, whatever that is.
Yes. You wonder, though, how do you think they're going to actually allow him to debate Trump?
Well, Nancy's saying there shouldn't be a debate, but I think the American people are going to demand it.
Oh, I think so.
Right. I think the American people are going to. I saw some meme floating around showing Trump in person and Biden on a TV at the debate.
They'll try to do that so he can have his cards in order.
Right. Yeah.
Able to talk off the cuff.
And everything, but whatever talking point they put him on about racism, he is not leaving that talking point. Mm-mm. I mean, he went down there to talk to, Kenosha? Mm-hmm. And with that racist black guy in the church, mm-hmm. and everything he was just talking about was racism. I'm like, boy, they can stay on those talking points.
I've been in an interracial marriage for 32 years. I never heard so much about racism till this last year.
Well, I asked my mother, my 90 some odd years, we're divas. We don't tell our age, so I don't know how old she is. But I asked my mother in her 90 some odd years, had she ever seen.
She's beautiful, by the way. I saw her picture.
Thank you. And my mother said she hadn't seen such an outpour. And my mother told me, back in their day, she said the whites had their area and they had their area, but it just was the kind of hate.
Well, people didn't have time to hate because they were working their butts off.
Well, it looks like, but you see, these people are master manipulators. They figured out the words to keep us angry. See, they're emotional manipulators. And now we're conservatives. We have a different timeline. Uh-huh. Your timeline is probably far different. I'm not saying far, but different than mine. And I'm sure our Caucasian friends is totally different. We still have liberal black friends, and man, sometimes going in there is like a war zone.
Yeah.
You leave out living, and you leave out living in virtual reality. It's like they beat the heck out of me in there.
Oh man.
Because you're trying to defend yourself, and then strangers will come and say, "You love racist Trump," so I'll tell. But you know who I am.
I know. You're
I
not
said,
you're not a wilting flower.
Exactly. I said, I'll give you the lead. For every one thing you say Obama did, I'll tell you 3 things Trump did. Now the countdown begins. Let's go. And what does liberals do? They vanish. Nothing.
Yes. They vanish.
So
they can't stand it.
To be honest, if I weren't married or if I was single, I don't care if he was the most handsome man in the world. If he wore a mask, I would be like, I mean, I know we have to wear a mask where it's mandated, but I'm like, if he's driving in a car wearing a mask and forcing a mask like some of these people are doing, it's like something's not computing.
Right. I would ask them, even if they're not intellectually ready to talk to you about it, I ask them something simple. I'll say, okay, if you were stranded on a long stretch of road in the desert and 2 cars came by to pick you up, one car was Donald Trump was driving and the other car, Joe Biden was driving, which car would you get in?
That's very good. That's very good. I even just thought of that. I took it that way too. I'm like, you got your last $100 to your name to invest.
Yes.
And you have to give it to one man. Who you going to give it to, Biden or Trump?
Yes, exactly. Because I mean, he's not capable. Biden's
Biden
not capable.
stands for Biden. He'll be like Biden.
Yeah, what I saw about Trump that I really loved, that he did so many things for the Black colleges and for Black people when he didn't really have to do it because he didn't need the Black vote to begin with. He did a lot of stuff. I mean, my friend Janice, in the back of her book, Scapegoat, she has a list of all of the Trump accomplishments.
Yes.
It's indisputable, who actually cares about the American citizens, not let alone Black people, but just the American citizens.
The country. He loves his country. And I even told a family member the other day, I said, it's so far-fetched for you to just believe that he just loves his country. And I started saying all the things he had done prior to becoming president. I said, you don't just wake up racist.
No.
And then I had to remind this Black person in the family of some whites that we knew as children, who was very generous to us as children. And I said, suppose just tomorrow someone started saying the fellows were racist. Would you believe them? I'm like, would that make them racist just because people said it? They're like, no. I'm like, well, how is that happening to Donald Trump? You don't just become racist because people call you that.
No, you don't just turn into a racist. You would have had a history of racism,
Absolutely. But they're calling you and me a racist. So there's nobody who loves Trump.
I know, especially when they don't see our picture,
Girl, they've seen mine. I'm like, see, you're truly a Cassie for one who flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Oh my gosh. My friend Felicity, she posted yesterday and I reposted. She posted somebody called her a self-hating person.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, I mean, look at us.
Again.
Nobody loved Kathy more than Kathy except for God.
Right.
I love, in fact, I probably love Kathy a little too much. So.
Well, you know what it seems like to me, Kathy? I'm telling you, this is narcissism gone rampant. Because that's what they do. They project onto you what's really wrong with them. And in fact, that's how you know what's wrong. But there's a litmus test of who's right or wrong. The litmus test is, if you put any of them up to a debate, they're never there to withstand the debate. They always or they change the subject.
Or call you a name. That's usually how they end it, because when they lack an argument, if they don't have a valid argument, they go straight to the name calling.
So with all that being said, we know we're living in a very volatile climate. Now, another thing I found, let's talk about something that we've seen that's strange. Now, we know that's strange, as you just said. Never in our lifetime have we seen that. Something else I've seen strange, and I have to always go to my 90-some-odd-year-old mother or my husband and just ask, have y'all seen this? Have you ever seen a former president go back and campaign for the next president? Did Bush come back and campaign?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen a first lady do what Michelle's doing?
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's another thing about the deception. That okay, the whole thing about the environmentalists, that's kind of a new religion. This environmentalism, and they're saying that if we don't do something, so many places are going to be underwater in 12 years. Well, then why did the Obamas buy their house right there on the beach?
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, in actuality, someone posted the other day, when did they become so left and so
Angry.
mean? Yeah.
And me. Okay, let me point to you another difference. Why is it, I've asked this amongst my Republican friends. I said, why is it that most of us don't? Because we live next to Austin, which is kind of liberal.
Yes.
And so why is it that we don't have Trump bumper stickers? Because if we drive into Austin, we might get keyed.
At least, wow,
Yes.
That would be. I'm afraid. Actually, I do occasionally wear my Trump hat.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally.
Yeah, me too. I have a Trump mask too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. If I had that, I'd wear it. But and then what's up with in Texas? We're in Texas. What happened to a couple of weeks? Is it indefinite now that you have to wear a mask?
Yeah, we were going to flatten the curve. Remember?
So since the real COVID numbers came out, it's only like shy of 7,000 for the whole world nation.
Yes.
When is that? Do you know of any time when that mandate's going to be over?
No, they have no end. There's no end game. It's this that they could make this go on forever and ever until the last germ on Earth is dead. Because I mean, they haven't eliminated all the diseases. Think about it. They had the flu shot. We still get the flu. Everybody.
The people are going to have to stand up.
Well, yes. I think we're going to have to actually stand up in our own civilized way, not like the Democrats do. We don't have to riot. We should just, all in one day, every Republican stop wearing a mask. They can't arrest all of us.
Right. Wow. Yeah, we had that kind of solidarity. That would be something.
I think that's the kind of thing that it's going to take to make them see that we are done.
Right.
If which is one or two here and there, and then it's like the beauty salon lady. She had to go to jail because she wouldn't acquiesce to that judge, and we have to do something that means something for it to stop, or they're going to drag this on.
Nancy with the good hair, you saw Fancy. I'm a trichologist now. Girlfriend has some good hair. She was going in that hair salon. So just like she likes our hair, we all like our hair.
But she got busted.
As soon as the door opened, there was a step. She didn't even miss that step because I would have been on my face. She was walking to get that hair done.
And she had her heels on.
And no mask in sight. And another thing, if you look at that video, her helper cleansed his hands with the sanitizer, but not Fancy Nancy.
No, not Nancy, never. Yeah,
Girl,
the rules and laws are for us, the peasants, and not her.
Well, again, another form of narcissism. She projected the blame onto the salon owner.
Yes.
Yeah.
She says the salon owner, she said, owes her an apology.
Yeah.
In what world?
In the narcissistic world. It's never their fault.
Crazy.
That was crazy.
She'll pay for it. I think, I often wonder, a lot of people, well, including myself, I in the last few years, I've had some friends pass on. And every time that happens, I think, God, how come Soros is still here? Why
I
all
know.
the mean people here? These mean people live forever.
Well, it seems like, it seems like wicked people get by, but there has to be something, wicked people like they winning,
Yeah, they think they're winning, but I don't know. Something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Then, as a Black American, sometimes you hate to see your loved ones still trapped in that. Like LeBron James to pay talking about the police, and then I saw the conservative patriot with the 4 boys, the black man.
Yes.
Who wrote that speech about, hey, the reason this isn't happening to my boys is I'm teaching them how to comply.
Yeah, and he's teaching them how to be a man.
Yeah, and somebody goes, he must be a Republican. I'm like, well, that's actually a compliment. So decent people are Republicans and thugs or not.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you something. My daughter, I got a lead foot. My mom has a lead foot driving, and my daughter has a lead foot driving. And she's always getting tickets. I go, I'm not gonna say her name, but I say, girl, I've been pulled over at least 40 times in my life. Wow. In my lifetime, and I've never gotten a ticket, not one, only a warning. And I said, because I always am the nice one. I say, because basically you got to understand that these police officers, they deal with assholes all day.
Yes, and
if you're that nice one, it's going to be like, oh, I'm going to do you a favor. And I said, try that to her, because she's a beautiful girl. I'm like, how are you getting a ticket? You're stunning. And so she tried it. Because she's always just like her mom. And so she tried it, and she got pulled over, and she goes, Mom, you were right. She called me right after. She goes, you were right. I was just really nice. I looked at his badge. I always call him by their name, officer, whatever their name is, And I said, you be that nice person, and don't argue with it. I said, I always act like, what did I do?
Yeah, because when you look at a lot of those cases that they're writing, those were provocative cases.
Oh,
I'm like,
yes.
There's nobody standing outside your door, pulling you out.
Yeah, that last guy, he had a restraining order, and he'd taken her keys. Remember?
Right. Well, one of them had actually molested a 15-year-old girl.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, and so I don't know why we as a people are rewarding that type of behavior. I don't know.
I reenacted it. What I did was I reenacted it because one of my liberal friends was over here, and we were making food, and she came over. She's one of the few I have left.
Yeah, right.
I know, they all just, but yeah, she came over and she was telling me what a horrible thing, and I said, but I saw the video, and what I saw in the video, I said, if I was that cop, I'm like, and I'm holding a gun. You got 2 police officers holding a gun towards him, and he's walking. They're saying stop, 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 and he keeps walking, right? And you're saying stop, and he goes, I'm gonna, and then he goes and reaches into the car. I'm not gonna let him turn back around to me because I don't know what he's gonna have in his hand.
Yes.
Really, if I'm holding a gun and you're not listening to me, and then you go reach into a car,
right?
Why would I let you turn around?
It's past ridiculous. It's past ridiculous.
Mm. We are a beautiful country with beautiful people who love the United States of America. We will stand strong. I would like to thank Dr. Leola Anifowoshe. We have several shows to do. Wait till you see. She is also an artist in her own right. She designs beautiful bags and purses. I'll show you some more soon. I sure enjoyed discussing today's dilemmas and hopes with my friend Leola. Dr. Leola has her doctorate in philosophy, which makes for a very interesting conversation and many moments of, oh, well then, okay, which I love. So keep tuning in to kathysright.com. Fear not, 365. Some of you may wonder why I say that almost on every show. When I say fear not 365, what I mean is that the Bible says fear not 365 times. That is one fear not for each day of the year. More than likely, the number is higher than that if you put it in different ways of saying fear not. The point is that God doesn't want you to live in a spirit of fear. Fear God, yes, and behave yourselves, but do not walk in fear. Think about it. If you are listening to me right now, you have survived 100% of any and all crap that has happened in your life. You are still here by God's grace, so do not walk in fear. Step out in faith and grace. God's got this for you. He is always faithful. God bless you. And God bless America. I love you. This is Kathy of kathysright.com. Bye.